Okay, so in today's presentation, I'm going to be focused on planning. Okay, and I would like to start with a quote by William James that says, "In the practical use of our intellect, forgetting is as important as remembering." So why I decided to use this quote because the presentation that I'm going to show now, um, it's pretty interesting how the design of any material and the use of any tool can be useful for different kind of learners in order to remember things, in order to support their knowledge, and it enables learners to be confident at the time of not forgetting things, even though that our brain is very like weak at this point because we don't always remember everything. So sometimes we need to start like re-seeing or re-studying new info or the information that we have already studied. So that's why I selected. So the lesson plan is the idea of this lesson plan is to provide teaching tools based on adult educational context. Okay, so we are going to present a brainstorm, a lesson, some possible objectives, and some designs to how to organize it, the design principles used, and the references. Okay, so first of all, the main aim here, we're going to divide it in three different questions. So this is one of the first ideas that you need as teachers you can use. So how can you structure a presentation based on an English class for adults in a Chilean context? Of course, Chile, because my country is Chile, but it could be in any other country. So in different like foreign context. How will I include design principles to ensure it is clear and engaging? So that's pretty important. And do you think that creating a simple, clear, and visual appealing presentation will be the most effective way to teach English? So I invite you to reflect about these three questions because it's important to bear in mind. So let's continue with the lesson. So my proposal is the structure of this is the learning English for communication in Chile. So the design elements that I selected. So first, the background is important, the images and the font. In the background, you can have like a simple gradient with a soft blue, maybe it's a color. And remember, these are some ideas how to create this material to present to your students. The image, a picture of classroom with diverse students engaging conversation because this is the topic that the lesson is going to be about. So that's important to catch your audience attention. And the font, of course, it's important. So highlight with bold titles, so italics, etc. And here it's the image thing that I consider. And here we have another option that is, and with the support for this, is the Mayer's cognitive theory. So we need to remember that the Mayer's cognitive theory, based on multimedia learning, is students create a mental model in their working memory by performing three cognitive tasks, okay, with the help of these images. So for that reason, it's important to associate and to have a coherence with the images that we choose and the content that we are like studying with our students and teaching them. So first, you need to select verbal and visual information from materials presented. Second, organize it verbal and visual information. And third, integrating those elements into a mental model. So that's pretty important. This is cited from an article by Killeen and Thomas in 2015. So if you notice, it's kind of old, but multimedia is have been studied for many years now. So, the objectives for this proposal is improve your spoken and written English, expand vocabulary for everyday communication, learn practical language skills for work and travel, and build confidence. That's the most important in English conversation. Sometimes people are a little shy to speak in English. So, a recommendation for every single class is the learning outcome should be stipulated as the following one. So by the end of the class, students will be able to identify, analyze, demonstrate, etc. Okay. So this can be useful when you consider the learning outcome based on the blues. taxonomy. Okay. So, because addresses the arrangement of learning aims in education process that educators appoint for learners, as we can read here. Okay, so here you have the link for more specific information if you want to like research a little bit about, and the authors that I selected to cite the Bloom's taxonomy. And then some um some organization of the class. So for example, we have different one. We have to use simple flowcharts of timeline design to show structure clearly. Use contrasting colors for each selection of the timeline. So you decide pastel colors or whatever. Include a minimalistic icon for each activity. Okay, it's not necessary to include a lot of things. So first, the warm up. You have here an idea. So you have 10 minutes. You can start with a sorry, a conversation practice. And then you can continue with a main activity, well, not just one, so more than one. And this is, I gave it to 30 minutes because it's the most important part. So students here are going to practice, are going to put into practice what they already learned or what they already know. So the previous knowledge and the knowledge that they have because of the beginning of this class. Brainstorming, some concepts, vocabulary, etc., etc. And then you have the grammar and vocabulary part, 20 minutes again, because number two and number three are part of the while of the class. Okay, so it's important. And here we can focus on a key language skills and chunks. So that's relevant for this part. And then the closure of the class or the wrap up, if you want to call it as this way, you can have 10 minutes. And I cited Brown, Fisher, Jean, and Philo Mindra because here they mentioned that questions, recap, exit tickets, reflection, metacognitive process, and some homework can help students to remember what is going on for the next class and what they have been studying um, while you are teaching some vocabulary or different topics during the class. Okay, so then we have some design principles used. So according to Tegos and Young et al., um, we have I well not we have I selected five of them of the designs: simplicity, contrast, consistency, visual hierarchy, and engagement. Okay, the simplicity, clean layouts, minimalistic. That's a pretty kind of important concept that we always need to bear in mind. The contrast is clear contrast between text and background. So if you have, for example, like a blue background, don't use light blue letters or dark dark blue letters because students are not going to distinguish the letters. Okay, so you need to be very clear with this. So if you have a very pastel color, you need to use like a very dark letter because it's going to be visible. Consistency, same font, family, and colors palette throughout the presentation for a cohesive look. So that is part of the design. And the visual hierarchy, larger, bolder titles, smaller supporting content in bullet points. Don't write a lot of text because it's going to be boring. Sorry for being so like direct with this, but sometimes it's boring to just read all the whole text and then listen to the teacher again, repeating and saying the same. And the engagement use of images, icons related to the content, okay? Because that's going to keep the audience engaged in a way, and they're going to feel motivated because they can associate. So we know that the learning styles are myth, but we need to consider that our cognitive process in each student is different. So sometimes colors helps, icons helps, images helps to remember the information. And the references, so if you notice, many of them, you can consult all of these articles, all of these books. I already read them, all of them, um, throughout my career. But I think they are very useful when we when we need to like plan a class and remember that the importance of all the visuals and the material, multimedia materials that we can like use in order to improve the our students' learning. So that's it. I know that it was a little bit far away from the time given, but I think it's important to mention all of these aspects, and I hope you enjoy it. And thank you for listening to me.